Yes, they run. Yeah. Okay, good, because I was looking at the airport, but I'm the airport, the study preschool. And she on the side, to stay down, I said, so they can just give me a question was very friendly. Well, they're, no, they did. And then it's
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Jesús. Hola,
Hola, hola. ¿Cómo estás?
yo muy bien, gracias a Dios. Aquí estoy, la intérprete,
Yo también.
usted también.
Jesús
Ya.
Villaseñor a sus órdenes.
Hola, Jesús.
I don't know, last time we were having so
A ver si nos dejan ver si podemos practicar y a ver si nos oyen.
Okay. May I ask who is the host? It's LCJA. Who would that be?
Yes, that would be me. Sorry, I'm not on. There you go.
Hi. How are you? Can you hear
Hi.
me? I suppose you can
Yes,
hear me.
I can hear you.
Can you hear my partner, Miss Adriana?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I
Okay,
can hear
perfect.
you.
Are you going to activate the interpretation feature?
Simultaneous.
Yes, I am. Just give me 1 second.
Yes, of course.
For some reason, it is.
Take your time.
Because I can see the difference. It's good to meet you. Luciana. I don't know what to say. There's him just. Si alguien necesita interpretación al español, tenemos los aparatos. Okay, I believe I moved Adriana over. Yeah, Adriana, I can't hear you, so I think you're on the Spanish channel. Okay. Jesus, can I leave you on here and then you could give the directions for interpretation?
I don't see the interpretation tool. Have you already assigned me as an interpreter?
Yes, I should have. Oh, let me see.
I don't see it.
Adriana should be interpreter.
Adriana, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Are you so you're in the what, are you? What the color, right? Are you in the intro? Do you know where we go? There's a little bit.
We can't hear you, Adriana. But can you give a thumbs up if you're in the Spanish room?
Yeah. Where are you in the middle?
I don't think she can hear you.
That back one.
Yeah, so you enter through that door. You see like the door that leads to the offices on that side.
The new addition that they're doing? We're on the other side. So like.
How about now?
Yeah.
And you go all the way to the wall?
Yeah.
All the wall, all of this other side.
Are you close to like reception?
There's facility good stuff, yeah.
Can you both hear me?
I'm saying, I don't know.
Okay, and the interpretation is on? I could hear you.
There was a classroom there, the equipment, yeah. No, my.
Okay.
I'm not sure beyond like things like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice. We have a small reimbursement here.
Can you hear? I can't hear any of you.
Hold on. One row or just? Apologize.
Oh.
Jesus, I'm gonna take you out. Give me a second.
Yeah, I think they both went to the
Okay.
Spanish channel.
Jesus, can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear me?
Sorry, guys.
Okay, oh boy. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. When you were talking to me, I was in the English channel. Remember, every single body needs to choose a language if you want to hear me, even if you're English only. Okay?
Okay, I'm gonna leave you in the main room for now, so you can give those instructions. And when we start, you can give them.
Yes.
But let me change my Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi is not good.
Also, you're cutting off a lot.
Wi-Fi is better. You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, you were frozen for a few seconds.
I know, it's because the Wi-Fi is not
Okay.
good. But we will figure it out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we got this.
Go here, and I'm going to.
Poor Richards, it was called Poor Richards.
Yeah, because I remember, well, I'm assuming, it was like when I was in the undergrad, there was like.
Then there was a video.
For like writing.
That was connected to the gas station here. And it was a little thrift store.
They don't have one.
There too, like online for like the longest time. It was very fast. It was very fast. But you can rent the video.
Fair enough.
So the gas
You never know, okay.
right.
So what's about the books?
Gas station there for a while on market. And then next to it to the west, there was a little thrift store.
You did.
They rented video. And they're like, oh, it's rent VHS. Sorry, I'm like, oh.
Are you really got this?
That building is all spray.
Think we're good.
Yeah, so I think liquor store and then right next to it, was a thrift store, and they rented other different VHS tapes.
Okay,
we're ready.
Whenever you're ready,
Okay.
Maria.
You're ready.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
You're okay.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Welcome back to our last 16 meeting. So any question you guys have, today's the day. So we'll get started with a roll call, and I just want to introduce myself briefly. My name is Malu Huerta. I'm part of the committee and represent Mecca community. So we'll start. Roll call.
Anjanette Aguilar.
Present.
En
Alfredo
este
Martinez.
momento estamos pasando lista. Bienvenidos.
Oh, I'm sorry, her sister. Actually, could we
Yes, I
give
know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna move it over so you can give the instructions for the
Okay.
interpretation.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Do you want to start or want me to start?
You can go ahead and
I'll start. Muy buenas tardes y bienvenidos a todos. Si gustan ustedes servicio de interpretación al español, hagan favor de seguir las instrucciones que se encuentran en pantalla. Elija el idioma de preferencia para esta reunión haciendo clic en el icono del globo denominado interpretación para elegir inglés o español. Después haga clic en Mute Original Audio, que eso quiere decir silenciar el audio original para no escuchar la reunión en ambos idiomas. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second and then move you over.
Thank you. Could you initiate the interpretation feature for me, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you should be moved over now. And here we go again. Okay, so we can start with roll call.
We're back to roll call.
Yeah, I heard yes to Anjanette. Alfredo Martinez.
I'm here.
Thank you, Alfredo. Ken Zamalo.
Here.
Jocelyn Eckert. Crystal Otworth with Leadership Council. That will be me. Jose Cruz.
Here.
Thank you, Jose. Malu Huerta.
Here.
Bernardo Lino. Bernardo Lino. Jose Manso.
I'm here.
Thank you, Jose. Olivia Rodriguez Mendez.
Here.
And Raul Zendejas.
Here.
Awesome. Okay, we have quorum.
Perfect. So we're just gonna start with briefly explaining the background of the committee. So I'm gonna go back to Crystal so she could go over the purpose and the reason we are here today.
Thank you, Malu. Okay, hi, everybody. My name is Crystal Atworth. You are here at the TCC committee. So essentially, this is a grant-funded space through the California Strategic Growth Council. And they essentially fund community-led development and infrastructure projects to deliver environmental, health, and economic benefits to disadvantaged communities across California. And so specifically for this project, this grant is covering 4 different projects. The first one is a community resilience center here in North Shore. That one's being led by the Desert Recreation District. We've also got Grid Alternatives here who are completing roof improvements and electrical upgrades to get a home solar ready. As well as work training opportunities through paid internships. And you'll hear more about these projects as we go on. The next one are transportation improvements. So we are working on bridge improvements on Avenue 70 and Cleveland Street in North Shore, as well as bike lanes that go from Mecca to North Shore. Okay. This space often gets confused with the Mecca North Shore Community Council, which is a different space. So that one is led by the county. They have their own schedule. That's where you would go for any other like community issue or topic outside of these projects. Okay. And you can go see their schedule and their materials on the link provided. That link will take you to their webpage. And if you would like to see that webpage in Spanish, you would just toggle over to the right and change it from English to Spanish. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna move on to item number 4, approval of last minute for last June. Does anybody have any questions? Motion to approve. Can I get a second? Second. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna open it to the public for any comments before we get started. Throughout the presentation, we'll have comment section as well, but if you have any questions before we start. Any questions?
Is it a different one?
Through Zoom?
He's just asking.
No? Okay. So we'll move on to the projects and we'll start with the first project update for the Mecca Community Resilience Center. So with the Desert Recreational District, so I'm gonna pass it to Ken.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, the plans for the Resilience Center is 100% complete and is under review with staff. And as requested at the last meeting, the plans actually are on the Desert Recreation website. Under the public works. We're also looking at with the help of internet funding for construction. And that concludes my update. I'm available to answer questions.
Does anybody have any questions? Any questions?
Do the diagram of it again.
I don't have it on here, but if you go to the website, you'll have the full plans including renting. Yes.
I just noticed like, was the entrance on the, is to the left or right?
It's as you're facing the structure, it's on the right.
Has anyone been out there? Because that's the side that is,
Right.
but the other side is like flat.
I think they did it because of drainage. So that's, I can check with the architect. But yeah, I believe, yeah, the answer is not.
What kind of funding opportunities are you guys looking at?
Right now, we're looking at reapplying for a TCC grant.
Okay.
And then we have a couple other options that was provided by Crystal that I'm going to do.
Yeah, well, I'm sharing right now the thank you, Ken. I put up the website.
Yes, you're right. It was on the-
I put the website up in case anybody was interested, and it does have the site plans up there.
Is this driveway shown there?
Is the driveway shown?
And
The entrance.
that first,
The entrance would.
there you go.
I believe this is,
I think it's-
Oh, they have like a plan.
but that's not the most updated one. I
Yeah,
don't,
could have sworn it was on the right.
Cause the house shows on both sides.
Yeah, right, that was the original, right? How we started.
Yeah, I guess that is how we started out. Let me check into this, but I'm pretty sure it was on the right.
I'm pretty sure it was on the right.
Yeah.
The last sketch
Right.
or
The rendering,
whatever it is
right,
that we saw.
right.
And I was wondering why it was on the right, because they were saying the reason why they didn't put it on both sides is because one side was extremely high. And then I went to the park and looked at it, and it's actually the side that they were going to put the driveway on. Sketch was the side that was really high, and the other side was actually almost.
Yeah,
Second, you'd like a flyer for the website because
yeah,
we just saw it, but we couldn't write it down.
no. So I'll look into the website to make sure that we have the latest plans on there, and then, I'll also look at that entrance.
Yeah,
You want the link to the,
Yes, check the project, check out the projects.
what's your name?
Have you read it?
Javier. We'll follow up then, so
Okay,
you can
thank you.
get the link.
well, you bring up a good point, actually, since this is our last meeting. He had mentioned if we have like one pagers or some sort of flyer with the information for the Resilience Center, and maybe that's something we could look into developing.
Sure.
Yeah,
But how do we distribute? I mean, I wanna make sure we follow through. Having the summary sheet, I think is a great idea,
Mhm.
but I wanna make sure it's available to the public. We can put it on the website if we develop it.
yeah, or I think even bringing them like some to the,
In the.
into
community
the,
centers?
into the
Yeah.
community centers.
Then the
Leadership.
people that sign up, you could,
Yeah, we can also, so we have a listserv with folks who signed up for, like, that were interested in the TCC updates, and we can send it through there too.
Okay.
Yeah. There's ways. I think,
Can it be shared to the mail list? I know that this meeting, the meeting information was shared with everyone. And then you sent to the mailbox.
like through mailers.
Yeah.
So, that was funded through the TCC, that's, and so it was about 3,000. If that's something that DRD would want to send through the mailers, I think that's,
We're going through the budget now, so we can check in on it.
okay.
I think we're talking about. Putting it digitally, right?
No, there's something.
Or this, that was for. Yeah, yeah, I saw. So they, like, they're
I did have a question, I think it's okay. Last time, I think we were in the process of submitting these plans to Riverside County. I was wondering if there was an update on,
I
Windows.
have not checked with the architect, but let me do that.
okay.
For someone that actually was at surveillance of. A lot.
Typically submit plans to planning, or are you guys able to build without having to go to planning?
No, we have to go through planning. Planning is the hub for the permitting process. And so
Right.
they'll distribute it to the transportation department and the emergency service department. So we have to go.
Was. Wait, I have one more question. Is there an update on the microgrid feasibility?
No, we haven't gotten an update. I know they're studying it, but we haven't received any.
I have an update on mine.
Okay, okay, Jocelyn will provide an update
Okay.
during the grid section. Any other question?
any other questions? I'm just more like interested in, I know it's on the works for the grants stuff. And I think will be good, like, just to keep update to the community, like the process and stuff like that. I know it's challenging. But I feel like we have done so much work and I don't wanna like stop the momentum.
Sure.
That is like, okay, or just keep them, I think part of it to keep us educated, you know, like sometimes it's like, oh, if they don't wanna move on, it's more like, okay, here are the why.
What steps are.
Yeah,
And if it's okay with you, I think if the website is the ideal place for us, where we have the plans, we can
Okay.
have a project status update, including funding and things like that on that website. It's easy for us to update. And everyone has access to it.
And you guys also use social media, would that be something that you guys could do?
We could, I don't know anything about social, so I.
I don't know, I
Yeah.
just, I use it.
I'll take notes and I'll ask our marketing department.
Thank you. Any other question?
Was DRD able to submit the pre-application for the extreme heat grant?
Not that I know of.
So,
I know we have a management analyst that's working on grants as well, but I haven't touched base with him.
about the pre-application that's due tomorrow
The pre-application, no,
for extreme heat?
not that I know of. I can look, and if it's due tomorrow, I think we might be able to make it, but we'll see.
Okay, yeah, that was the one that we talked about on the phone. I remember.
I know I started, I think the answer is no, but I'll look.
Okay,
Extreme heat,
yeah, the governor's extreme heat.
right?
You guys submit the technical assistance request for the CRC? What do you call technical assistance? Technical assistance for the climate resilience centers for and the future growth council as well. So they had opened technical assistance for both of their plants to help, grant writing, take full on task.
And I actually think we did, but I'll just look into that, because now that you say, for technical assistance, I do remember that. But let me go to look at it.
And that's the one, that one.
That the CRC grant actually has a similar deadline to the TCC one.
Okay,
So we'd be having to work on both applications at the same time. I will say the TCC, what is it, the max amount is 27.5 million and the CRC is 10 million, so it does leave quite a bit of a gap. Just keeping that in mind.
can you get both or not?
No, you
one
have
of
to
those.
pick one.
Okay.
If the grant process is similar, does the CRC grant have a pre-application due tomorrow?
I don't believe they have a pre-application, but you should confirm and go with the guidelines. But Crystal, I'm pretty sure they can apply for both, they just have to be the lead applicant.
Yeah, you can apply for both, but what if you were to get both, then they would have you like choose your preference, basically.
But this wouldn't apply because they're not the lead applicant under the implementation track, correct?
I think
They would be the lead applicant under the CRC and the county's the lead applicant under the TCC.
Oh,
It's not the same
interesting.
lead applicant.
I don't know about that, but if you feel confident, I'll defer. We can double check.
Yeah. I'll look.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Any
I
questions?
have one. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't been to the last two other one, but it's got in the mail and I paid. What is that about? What's the whole there about?
So it is a climate resiliency center. It's essentially a recreation center that can provide emergency cooling. It acts as an emergency center. It acts as a training center. We're gonna have a full commercial kitchen. So it actually serves multiple uses.
So that's gonna be approved, or that's already approved?
So the funding for design has been approved. Now we have to look for construction. And I think the cost estimate's about $23 million. But there's a lot of grant funding around out that we're looking at.
Okay, that was one of my questions.
And where is that gonna be located for those?
Oh, it's is it Mecca?
Avenue 7.
Yeah, it's on Avenue 70 next to the park, just west of the park.
Any other question?
Yeah, I just have one more question on the funding piece. So, I think for the matching grant, one of the things that we had identified is potentially unincorporated community initiative funding, UCI funding. And so I just wanted to put it out there that, I think it would be really helpful to connect with the supervisor, ideally before the TCC grant is due. To, start talking about what does it look like to get some of that funding committed. And I think
Can you elaborate a little bit more on it, since I'm not familiar with that?
yeah, UCI stands for Unincorporated Community Initiative, and that funding is essentially available for infrastructure projects in unincorporated communities. Each of the supervisors get a certain amount every year, but it's discretionary to the supervisor. So you sort of have to like petition, and then it's up to the supervisor to decide yes or no and how much. And so it is helpful to have representatives go and share about the project. Why is it important to get that funding committed?
Is there anything like the community could do to support that, like requests or like put more pressure on the supervisor? Are these things discussed in the?
We've shared, supervisor and staff have attended some of the meetings, so they're well aware of the project. We provided regular updates. I know the general manager from DRT is reaching out to the supervisor to put in a request. As far as what the community can do, I mean, you're always more than welcome to reach out to supervisors, send an email, asking to support these type of projects, but he's well aware of this project and the full support of it.
Okay.
And so we are looking at all possible funding opportunities, including potential CDBG funds when the NOFA comes out later on this year as well. But it's a substantial amount of funding needed, so it is gonna require us applying for any type of funding that becomes available. And so we're working closely with DRD and so work in progress.
They also came to the site visit, so like Juan said, they've come into the space and like are aware of the projects.
And in order to apply for that new TC implementation grant, it's gonna require a board action, so we are gonna be going to the board, but just ask for now when you can go support it. That's definitely one of the items that we encourage anybody to go there, call in, write an email, go in person. And so yeah, I mean, that was a good opportunity to highlight.
August 25th. August 25th. Here's my next question.
It's working its way through approval, but
Is it afternoon?
it's always in the morning, 9:30 in the morning board meeting, and depending on when the item gets pulled. But there's a virtual option, so that's always a benefit as well. And like Ken was mentioning earlier, they will be providing updates on the county website that's specific to this grant. Whenever we apply for funding, whenever funding is secured as well, so feel free to not check our website, check the RD website. And as far as social media, I mean, we can also do that as well.
Sometimes I get a lot just on the website itself, because one is that after another link, so sometimes just the social media, like the direct link, that's what I'm thinking of.
That makes sense.
Question. This funding is allocated on, or is it grants? Because I know that there's money allocated to the North Shore area in Mecca. Is this just grants that you guys are looking into?
The TC, yes, so the TCC is a grant. UCI would be like through the county, so there's different like fountains, I would say.
Oh,
Quick question for this grant, these were the matching funds that were, the percentage was lowered, right? So the guidance was that 25%. Okay, leverage.
And that, how much would that be in money?
We have to put all the budgets together
Okay.
currently, and we'll talk more about it when the TCC round 6 application of these funds.
25 could be a lot of, a little, because what numbers are you looking at? So.
Yeah. For the CRC itself, it's like 7.5 million. Just for the CRC. Mhm. Okay.
Any other questions? No?
Oh, I do. Oh, is that gonna be all solar?
They're gonna be all.
Like climate resilience? Whatever, is that gonna be? 10?
Yes.
Will the resilience center be fully solar?
No.
No.
It'll have solar, our plan is to have solar on it, but fully solar to me means that it's fully powered by solar.
Yeah.
And solar is gonna be a energy, it helps to assist with electric use, but not fully powered by solar.
So let's say something happens and
Like what?
a natural disaster,
Okay.
go there, they flock there to get help or whatever the hunt is supposed to be, like, how they need to go to, so they have power.
There's
No, I'm saying is, all the gringos, it's not,
There's generator.
okay, so
So there's gonna be
generator,
an emergency power generator.
and then a few solar.
No, I mean, we're gonna certainly put as much solar on as possible, but I don't see solar as a standalone power source, especially in emergency.
Batteries.
Right, well, with solar powers batteries, right, but even, let's say it's a disaster in the wintertime where we have less efficiency with the solar, I still don't see it as a standalone system. So it's gonna need generator assistance at that.
It's big.
Right, and with a bunch of people, there's gonna be a lot of services. So,
That's gonna be able to send out the whole community, all the way to Marshall, to here, where we're at right now, like when we had, a couple of years ago, we got stuck up there.
well, there's capacity to the building, but I talked to the architect. And I believe the capacity of the building itself is 450. So, yeah, not everyone, right? Right.
We have to. That's what I'm like.
Any other questions? This is the last chance in person.
Sorry, it's a little hard to hear over here, which means that the owl's not catching it.
What's the sustainability, like, how much time can we sustain, will the energy will be sustained with the solar light?
Well, it really depends on the use in time of year. In the winter time, we'll probably have more time. But again, solar is really just to supplement the generator. Let's say we're cut off one power at, the generator is gonna be the main power source, solar is gonna supplement that, and it's really depending on fuel delivery. Because the generator is gonna be, use of power. And the fuel tank, I think, is 100 gallons. And so if it's a prolonged emergency, we're gonna have to figure out how to supply it. But the idea is to have an emergency operational plan that we have in place, so we know. We can project how long the emergency will last and when we can start building. That's all.
Any other question?
Yo tengo. Llegué un poco tarde, así que no sé. ¿Sí se van a hacer las dos entradas para el centro o nomás siempre quedó una? Porque acuérdense que la otra vez
Right now,
estaban
there's only
discutiendo eso.
Only one, right?
Only one.
Yeah, by vehicle. Yes, sir.
What size generator is that?
I don't know the capacity of it, but they have it, so it'll run the full building. I don't know the kilowatt.
With 100 gallons, does it sound like a whole lot of gas?
It really isn't. I mean, it'll last maybe 2 days, depending on and if it's today, with the weather we're having, it's probably gonna last 2 days afterwards. And so we'll have to have a refueling. So, yeah,
Are they generators that run off with, okay,
there is. But propane is the same. I mean, to be honest with you, personal experience, I have a generator that runs on propane. You can almost watch the needle move as it runs off of the thing.
like,
Yeah, it's just a big draw for fuel to them. Same thing with diesel. I mean, as John said, you think 100 gallons is a lot, but to run a generator, it's.
and that's why I was like curious as to, this place is being built as like, but whenever it comes down to it, they're really, this is a desert. Solar's gonna work no matter what season it is. If there's enough solar, it's not really gonna do much.
It's not that solar won't work, it won't provide 100%. You need a pretty big field in order to save that much energy to go from day to day. And if we happen again, if it happens and then that's gonna reduce the efficiency of the solar field. And there's no real way to account for worst case scenario and have enough land to provide power to.
There could be, but not in that lot.
It's honestly, it's no different than, a freeway is designed for 80% of the 100% capacity. It's the same thing. It's from an engineering standpoint, it's just not practical to do. You can't predict how long, if it's a month-long emergency, If we design a system for a month long, I guarantee we're gonna have a month and a week long. Where we can see the capacity. So we have to do what's most economical and really shoot for the meat of something. So if, emergency management, says we need to be prepared for a week, we might try and be prepared for 2 weeks, but we won't be prepared for long. So that's where the generator, fuel capacity question comes in, and a plan to resupply, because the generator, I believe, is gonna be the main power source. The solar is certainly gonna supplement and will help prolong the 100 gallons, but it won't go, either system won't.
Let's just say in the event of a all, all systems must be ready to fill in the void, so now you'll have crews. Who will be the people that will be responding to the needs of, let's just say it's in this gets the generator? I mean, you gotta have the best man practice program going for that. It's the first thing to do is, let's get our fuel source assured first, because we're gonna run out in a couple of days.
Right.
And then, you go down the list of your higher that way.
But that all has to be in place now.
Oh, absolutely.
So we can't do it.
Who's in charge of that?
So that is gonna be the public works department, which I'm in charge of.
Oh,
So, but if it were sheltering, then we would probably rely on Red Cross. For food, we would rely on.
oh, yeah.
So it just depends on what the need is. But in terms of facility, that's gonna be the public work. Yeah, it's gonna be the public.
So County of Riverside also has an emergency management department, and it's connected to all the different, DRD, a whole bunch of Red Cross, and a whole bunch of other service providers. Whenever there's emergency, the emergency declared, and then that takes into effect, and then, EMD takes a large role in coordinating all the benefits. Expired and those are those emergencies, so that's.
Yeah, that comes in mutual aid situations. And we would actually rely on China County.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I asked, is because I worked for it's all about water. And I ran one of the plants to, supervise. One of the most important things was to keep that generator all the time, 24/7, mowed all the time. And it was good, because our downtime was minimum, less than a half an hour. Because everybody knew what to do. Even if a battery ran down, it was supposed to kick it in when power went down. You had to get that thing about flow stuff. That you had to meet and treat and keep it close. This is the way to pick very important to have that program together, right training for each one. Get that thing going. Once the generator's going, then you can start feeding people, forming up the sound.
Right, but I think what the gentleman said about Riverside County is correct. I mean, we all are components. I'm a member of the SSC operation committee, or not committee, but group. And so we follow the direction of Riverside County, and we try and, as much as possible, be self-sustaining. But in a prolonged event, we're gonna need mutual aid.
Any other questions for Ken? Thank you, Ken. We'll move on to the next project. So we'll move on to the updates for Avenue 70 and the bridge. So I'm gonna pass it to County of Riverside, Alfredo.
Hello, let me share my screen. All right. My name is Alfredo Martinez. I'm here to discuss the latest status on the Mecca North Shore 70th Avenue Bridge and Hammond Road / 70th Avenue Bike Lane project. The purpose of the project is to construct a 6-mile long bike lane that's going to connect the community of North Shore with the community of Mecca. Along the way, we're going to end up crossing a CVWD bridge that's at Cleveland. So we have a separate project to widen that bridge as well. Right now, we are being funded through the TCC grant, and we're being funded for the environmental document and 35% plans. Here's a screenshot of the project limits showing that we're starting at about 2nd Avenue and Hammond, and we're going all the way to Seaview Drive and 70th, right by the Resilience Center and the North Shore Park. That's kind of in this area. In terms of the status, the environmental document has been approved by our County Board of Supervisors at their June 9th meeting. So the county did the standard process for the environmental document. We held a public meeting. We responded to any comments before we finalized. And in terms of the 70th Avenue Bridge, initially we had two concepts. One of them was to do two pedestrian bridges, one on either side of the original bridge. And then the second option was to just widen the bridge itself, based on feedback from the community, as well as this type selection report that's mentioned. It was found that the difference between the two alternatives wasn't substantially different. So we are moving forward with the bridge widening as the preferred alternative. In terms of the TCC grant, all of the tasks are currently complete. For the bike lanes, similarly to the bridge, we were funded for 35% design. That has now been complete. We had some extra money, so we've started pushing forward with a 65% design. We've received plans and we're currently checking those now. So we're trying to get as far as we can with this to be able to apply for future grants in the near future to actually build these improvements. Here's a cross section of what the county is proposing. Right now, we have two existing 12-foot lanes. So we have a total pavement width of 24 feet. We're proposing to add a 4-foot buffer and 5-foot bike lane. So a total of 9 feet on either side of the road. So we'll end up with a 42-foot wide roadway. We have constructed something similar near the North Shore area. Here you see an image of Highway 111. This is just south of 4th Street, kind of by where the roundabout is in Mecca. So similar to what was previously shown, we have a bike lane, we have a buffer. In this case, we added rumble stripes as well. This way, if any car does start to get off the road, they're notified by some sort of audible safety detection so that they can correct. And we also have delineators to make the path a little more visible. And that is pretty much all I have for this presentation. Any questions?
Yo tengo una pregunta. Mencionó 6 millas nada más, ¿escuché bien?
9 millas.
9 millas. ¿Y de dónde a dónde va a correr? ¿Va a llegar al parque?
Va a comenzar en 2nd Avenue y Hammond, en la comunidad de Mecca.
Ajá.
Y va a terminar en Seaview Drive y 70th, cerquitas del North Shore Park y el Resiliency Center que estaban platicando en la presentación anterior.
Any other questions? So, the last meeting we had, I asked about this and was told that
So the CV link, this is gonna be taking the funding away from the CV link, right, to build this project?
No, it's separate.
Yeah, it's an either or. So CV Link is studying a slightly different footprint and path than we are. So depending on who gets funding first, that's likely what's going to get built. And we have been coordinating with CVAG.
The CV link was supposed to be going down to 111 and completely separate from the road, like the other project. So we're not even connected to the road, it's like a separate path. It's just like all the other CV links.
Do you have a reference, Alfredo, that we can share visually?
I think CVWD has the CV link posted on their website. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Going down, what is it, 70 as something that's really safe for anyone, because all the driveways that people are driving in and out of all day and night, the workers, they're gonna be running people over. It's very, very unsafe. And the only thing that they really need is they really need sidewalks in that neighborhood, because the kids are walking in the street, they're off the bus. They're walking to school and out off the bus from school. They have to walk in the street because now there's this giant mound of concrete and dirt that the kids have to walk around. They kind of walk on the dirt to go through like one lot to another. They have to walk in the street. And the people they're driving off-road vehicles like crazy. And the kids have to be in the street with that. Because they're driving in the street with off-road vehicles now. So it's really unsafe. The whole situation is unsafe. And I don't really think that plan is something that is safe for the kids or for pedestrians at all, especially not on bicycles. Especially on bicycles, it's really unsafe to go. So you're gonna have to go through what, 4 or 5 dozen driveways to get down that stretch of, what is it? You said 6 miles or so?
9 miles.
9 miles. Yeah, that's not safe. I wouldn't let my kid go down that. I would not let anyone our family members get on that. It's very unsafe. I think the CV link is a much better idea. Honestly, if it was completely separate from the road, then I would say it's more of a peaceful situation in our scenario. But we need sidewalks for the kids. I think that should be the top priority for that neighborhood, should be sidewalks.
I hear you.
So children can walk around safely from school, to and from school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfredo, I'm sorry, could you please pull up a reference photo for the CV link?
And also a bridge, like a pedestrian bridge, separate from the road to that. That intersection is very unsafe. Yeah.
So we went, I'm going to be honest, we went back and forth with the pedestrian bridges for many, many meetings. It was actually my idea to do the separate bridges, and the community did not like that. So
that community did not like that. When for the Avenue 70 and Cleveland Street bridge, it was a option between bridge widening or doing the 2 separate pedestrian bridges. And folks were leaned heavily towards the bridge widening.
Bridge widening. Okay. Well, that's great, but just don't put bike lanes on it also.
Well, that bridge is gonna have the sidewalk and a bike lane, I believe, right, Alfredo?
yeah, it'll have bike lane and sidewalks. Sorry, I'm trying to find right now. I can only find the current portions of CV Link that have been built. I'm having a hard time finding the proposed alignments. And I do know those are still kind of in the works. One of the alignments is to stay on Highway 111, and it kind of completely, it's an alternate to our alignment where they don't cross.
But does it run through the community of North Shore?
It's supposed to come here.
So depending on which alternative is selected, it may not. It'll just stay on 111.
I know, but I can't. The original plan. Back in like.
Oh, I see.
Here, like this was supposed to be like, okay, let's see how it's for.
Oh, sorry.
Passing through.
I would just, I just wanted to add that I think one of the differences, like depending on the alternative, I'm not too familiar with the CV link myself. But one of the reasons why the bike lane for Mecca and North Shore was a priority was to be able to connect the resources from Mecca to North Shore. So like having just like a route that would be able, folks would be able to like use for bikes and walking, whatever, from Mecca to North Shore. But I do hear you as far as the safety concerns. I think it's something that we've heard pretty consistently in these meetings. And have expressed with the federal and the transportation department about different measures that can be taken to increase the safety in that area.
The only thing that I can think of that would be maybe a way to connect it directly to that neighborhood to be under the, there's like a little, but it would have to be, obviously. It would have to be deeper, like, it would have to be higher, but maybe to. Because right now, if you walk under that area, it's like under the railroad tracks, you have to kind of like duck your head a little bit, but if it was made so it'd be deeper, because it's wide enough for even a golf cart to go through, but it's just a little bit, it's too side. You know what I mean? And that could potentially be a way to connect 111, like to that neighborhood, and then people can go up, it's obviously anywhere in the neighborhood there, but. Right now, I don't know what the solution is. Because.
Would that be safe also for, you know, all the tractors and everything, all those that are just driving on the road? Once they build the bike lane, then I don't know if they're gonna be able to get in there too, or how it's not gonna work. Well, that's something that's, you know, like all the tractors and so that's another thing that was. I don't know if it's gonna be safe for them.
The farms and the farm workers.
Regarding that?
Going in and out, because there's like hundreds of car roads there every day. Hundreds, it's not just like one or two, and it's all day and night until like maybe 6 p.m. And it starts to slow down a little bit, but on the weekends it's heavy traffic there as well. And it's just, I don't know, I don't think it's safe unless it's completely separate from the actual road. Because if you're going down that street, just specifically that street. There's driveways, and then also you're gonna have to purchase land from every single one of those farmers. Or property owners are gonna have to purchase land just to build.
I do believe right of ways is part of the process as well. Alfredo, can you speak to that a little bit, please?
Yeah, so right now our current alignment doesn't require as much right-of-way acquisition. If we want a completely separate roadway structure, then we would have to buy right-of-way along the whole corridors. That's 9 miles of property. That's a lot for a county project. So we're trying to stay within our means as well to make the project fundable.
We have another question.
Yo digo que no es tanto las villas, es que desde el principio lo que hemos estado viendo en las juntas, es que la ciclovía va a pasar por todo el fil, y como dijimos de la junta anterior, no vine, pero antes de la última, toda la gente que trabaja en los files en la mañana, esa ciclovía la van a destruir más rápido de lo que la van a construir, por los tractores, por toda la gente que llega del fil, que trabaja en la mañana, que todos se orillan en la carretera. Entonces, yo pienso que esa ciclovía, como dijimos la otra vez, está mal planeada en que quieren que sea derecho, porque de este lado está en tiempo de la cebolla, del chile y todo, todos se estacionan, todos. 5 o 6 de la mañana está el carrerío, y de este otro lado en tiempo de la uva y de los limones y todo, es lo mismo, está lleno de carros. Ahora, como dicen los tractores, si los tractores no nos dejan pasar a los carros, ¿no ven cómo está la calle toda llena de hoyos? Cada rato tienen las piedras, nos botan a los carros. Entonces, ¿qué va a pasar con la ciclovía? Yo pienso que más va a durar en construirse ya tantos años que en que se destruya. es que para mí no está bien planeada esa ciclovía. Mi punto de vista no está bien planeada. Porque, ¿cuánto vamos a tardar?
Tengo cuánta gente ha muerto por cuestión de los doctores.
Sí, sí, también. Es que los que vivimos aquí nos damos cuenta de la problemática de la mañana, de la ciclovía. No está como la ciclovía de Coachella ni de Termal, porque aquí ya le han dado.
Un momentito, para ayudar a la traducción, están pidiendo que si el comité cuando estén hablando pueden hablar en alta voz porque están teniendo un poquito de dificultad en escucharlos y en poder traducir a las personas que están virtualmente. Sí, también las conversaciones al lado que estamos teniendo en baja voz para que ellas puedan apoyar en traducir para las personas que están en la junta virtual. Gracias.
Anna, were you going to translate from Spanish to English?
Who everybody is talking, like, can you guys just talk louder so we can all hear you, so we can interpret it correctly? When somebody's just making comments, like if we can just speak out, yeah, then we can just give you an interpretation. And I'm not sure if there are people here that are not understanding Spanish.
Yes, there is.
So you're not educated?
No, she doesn't speak Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish.
Just wanna,
Oh, no, it's okay.
yeah.
Can we translate her comment?
It's okay. I got the gist was pretty much what I was.
What she just mentioned.
Basically that it's dangerous, it is very dangerous, and that there are truckers coming and going, that the roads have potholes, and that there's a lot of drivers there, so it's probably going to take longer to build it than to disrupt it. That's the distance.
It's gonna take a lot of resources, it's gonna take a lot of time, and I feel like it's going to also cause a lot of accidents and possible unalivings of children. And just maybe even elderly, because if they're gonna be on their bikes going through there, they might not see a tractor in time, or a tractor might not see them in time, or a person that's going in and out speeding. It get really ugly really fast.
There's no way that they might be able to make a sidewalk with, that instead of a sidewalk, it's a bike lane. So it could be higher than, and it's also serves as a sidewalk.
Yeah, cause like the one in Coachella down, it's kind of like Breakthrough Boulevard, where, I don't know, it's 111 Breakthrough Boulevard, whatever. You know how theirs is like a little bit raised up, and it's kind of like a wider sidewalk with a little line down the middle? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen those before,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like that would be more sustainable and actually a better idea. He's got a good point. Than just a flat surface with a rumble thing, that's not gonna dissuade anyone from like, oops.
Yeah. I will defer to Alfredo, who's with our transportation department.
It's still the same problem with the drivers. That's still.
Right. I mean, all I can say is we'll take your comments into consideration. Like I showed in the last slide of my presentation, it's something that's been in that area for years now without incident. So it's not like it is unsafe. There haven't been any fatalities with that there, and it's a similar design that we're using here.
What is he talking about? What is it?
And Mecca.
But where in Mecca is it?
It's on Highway 111, so it's on an actual highway. And it's basically the connector between 4th and the St. Anthony Mobile Home Park.
But in that aspect, Alfredo, I feel like that area is rarely used.
The highway?
Like for the bike light. Yeah, the bikes line. Yeah.
Well, we got it funded because a lot of people from St. Anthony's asked for it. So it is used.
Can I speak on that, Alberto? Alfredo?
Sure.
I brought up in the past, not in the last meeting, previous meeting, but the one before, I shared a picture of some different forms of barriers. Like, was that not brought up or discussed, or is that tossed out? Um, just because I do know like one of the most, I guess like the most important aspect of the bike lane was the safety for the bike, the pedestrians and the bicyclists. Was that not considered? With that too, we talked about some lighting for the street so that it lights up the actual bike lane too. Just because I personally, I live there in San Anthony and I never walked through there because it's not safety, man. Like, I'm not risking my chances of a 65 mile per hour car, for a nice walk. And also like it's the barriers, something that won't even damage a bumper. So I know that someone doesn't mind just running over a few poles. And yeah, I just don't know if anything of that was discussed or taken into consideration from the previous meetings.
I mean, it can be discussed, but you're talking about maybe tripling the price, and we'd be looking at a 60 to $80 million project, and I don't think we could fund that.
You're saying like the plastics are that expensive?
Which plastics? Because when we talked, you were talking concrete barriers.
I showed it in some pictures. There's some definitely like some more bulky plastic that's either drilled into the ground as just more of a actual physical barrier than one of those like foldable cones that St. Anthony has from their exit to Mecca. So I don't know if that's really the difference that you're talking about, or is that towards the light?
So
At least from the from North Shore to the school, because maybe kids that, well, there's a bike lane, they're gonna want to ride their bike, so it needs to be safe for the kids.
Yeah.
And I personally think that the difference on it is you're talking about life and death. So I feel like it should be considered, in all honesty, because that was what was brought to the community.
Alfredo, I know that you've talked about having a phased-in approach before. For right now, when you're looking for funding, are you expecting the ATP to cover the full 9 miles, or what sections are you looking at?
right now, we are trying to get the whole segment funded. I'm leaving that to our grant manager to see how much money they can actually obtain, because there is a grant maximum, and I'm not too sure what that is right now.
Yeah, because I also know, so going back to the safety like features and stuff that you mentioned, that is something that would be part of the 95% plan. So I'm wondering if we can come back once we're at that stage before it's finalized to make sure that what is actually being considered aligns with the safety features that the community would like to see. Including, for example, Jose's the plastic cone barriers that he's talking about.
Plastic.
No, the ones that you shared last time.
Yeah.
The city's gonna pay one way or another. They're either gonna pay in advance to help build it so it's safe, or they're gonna pay later when someone dies and they the city.
And then they're costing more. Something happens.
Exactly.
And I feel like the comment of making sure that at least from the school to North Shore should be doubled down on security, and safety is reasonable. You mentioned costs, so like we're not ignorant of it, but I feel like we're just hiding the safety as the number one concern for it. I feel like once we have an accident, no one's gonna be letting their kids ride to school anymore or anything like that. So it's gonna be huge detrimental for it, the usage of it.
All right, understood.
Is that something we could come back and? Or how can we keep the community informed or input in this project going forward?
I mean, the best way would be if we take this project to a MAC meeting in the future when we do get more funding.
What's a MAC?
That's the advisory meeting you talked about at the start of the
Okay.
of the meeting.
I don't know about the acronym.
Yeah, it's the Municipal Advisory Committee.
Said September. Yes.
Got it. Thank you, Alfredo.
All right, and that'll be if it moves forward. I mean, if we don't get any grant funding, then just keep trying, and that's when we'll present again, is after we have more money.
Any other question before we move on?
I think we should.
Spotlight one for Mr. Martinez. I'm curious to know what the full roadway right of way is for that particular route. In other words, how much room do you have between the railroad tracks and the power poles that are east of what's it, Hammond, and going up to 70? What's the amount, full total of room you've got to breathe in? 100 feet, 200 feet?
It's nowhere near that. I believe we have about 80 feet of right of way. So from the center of the road, 40 feet in either side. And it is less in some areas.
Wow.
It's substantially less. So maybe we can probably, not go forward with this right now and do other things like a sidewalk for the children, for the whole community, and lights. That's going forward in this one, that's all. Cause it seems like we don't have the safety, there's no use in our country. I mean, yeah.
So these are all great ideas, but we were funded to do this bike lane, and these dimensions were per the grant, unfortunately.
But I think there are other spaces as far as advocating for the sidewalks, because I know that's also something that we've heard frequently, sidewalks and public lighting. And I believe last update we got from Riverside, one of the supervisors, representatives came and said that public lighting is something they are looking into for North Shore, but I can come back with more information.
So when lighting was brought up in the past, so the power for the lighting is actually through a tax that the community needs to vote on. So there is, if you want to have street lights, it goes to a public vote for your taxes to be increased to pay for the lights. I believe the community of North Shore did that. That's why they do have some street lights. There's a CFD established to maintain and power those lights. If you guys want power along 70th and Hammond, it would be a similar process. It would go out to vote, and you would have to vote to increase your taxes to develop a CFD or CDA, a Community Facilities District, CFD.
Yeah, and I think the supervisor's rep indicated that she has brought this up to the community of North Shore, but I think the residents have not opted forward to it. But Victoria Perez is a good resource. So this is something that the community of North Shore is now interested in the next community council meeting, bring that up, and she can facilitate helping the residents moving forward with, proposing that and putting that to vote. But it would result in an increase of your taxes. Victoria Perez. She's the representative for Mecca North Shore under the supervisor's office. Okay.
I want to thank Mr. Martinez for his responses and being as as sincere as he can be in terms of what he's got to work with. One of the things I asked a couple of meetings ago, or perhaps at the last one, was about the K rails. I guess that's what they call them, those road dividers. I mean, there seems to be a tremendous abundance, a tremendous need for them on our freeways. Just recently, let's just say within the last 10 years, the strip from east side of Cabazon all the way to the 60 and 10 drive where it splits up to Moreno Valley and continues up towards Cherry Valley. That's all K-rails now. I remember when all that was grass in between there. But that has been a tremendous contribution towards safety. You know, at least you don't run into semis, head on anymore. But what I'm saying is, has there been a cost analysis made of that type of a divider from Mecca to North Shore, where the cars can be on one side and the traffic, the foot traffic, bicycle traffic, like yourself? It's very important. I think that cost could be weighed against a life or several lives, like you said. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't know what they cost a piece, but I know people are using them in private uses, surrounding their ranches. So they're available, they're abundant, and they must be a reasonably priced where a private person can get several of them. So I think it's only fair to this community to say, well, we've analyzed the cost of that, and we either voted for it or against it. Give your reasoning why, as opposed to why do you say no to that additional safety factor? Thank you.
Thank you, and just due to the lack of time and the limited time that we have, we're gonna move on.
Thank you.
But feel free, if you have questions, you could always email the county and follow up with them. And so we'll move on to the next update with solar and energy. So I'm gonna pass it to Britt and Jocelyn. Thank you.
I emailed the slides, but Nadia can also probably screen share. Nadia, are you there?
Yes, hold on.
Thank you. And I'll take this time to just share that today, towards the end of the meeting, we have some resources for the community for energy efficiency, energy cost savings, and utility bills. And we also have 3 raffle items. So if you got a ticket towards the end of the meeting, we'll go ahead and call those raffle items for being here today and for sharing a lot of your feedback to us. We'll go ahead and get started. Next slide. So a little bit about Grid Alternatives. Grid Alternatives is a nonprofit solar installer and job training organization. We cover all of Southern California to the Arizona border and Blythe, down to the Mexico border, and into Los Angeles and Ventura counties. And what we do is we advance environmental justice through renewable energy. In a nutshell, we make solar power, renewable energies accessible to the communities who need it most, that are most affected by greenhouse gas emissions and by the burning of fossil fuels. And our part in this grant is Grid has been involved in our Southern California area over 3 implementation grants where we actually got awarded the funding to install and do this work. So we were invited to be part of this. We were really excited because we have we've noticed the need, especially in the IAD utility, to provide renewable energy to the hottest communities in all of Southern California. So what we did as a project development grant, go back to the slide I was on, is we set out to do 3 things. We were going to conduct solar feasibility studies. So we actually went out to over 50 homes. We assessed the roof and to be able to have the data and the information to then apply for funding with that information to then install the solar and or the home upgrades. So we started this over I think almost 2 years ago with outreach to the community. My colleague Erika was here. She was at the food distribution event every week, through the summer. We did mailers, we did media ads, these meetings. So we reached out to the community, both Mecca and North Shore, to let them know about this opportunity. We did receive 67 initial total applications for rehabilitation and feasibility. 11 applicants were no longer interested for one reason or another. Some were unresponsive. Some folks were unqualified. You did have to be a homeowner. You did have to live in your home, be under income limits, and your home had to be on a permanent foundation as well. So mobile units were not eligible. Some applicants already had solar, which is great, but the grant is to fund solar for folks who don't have solar. In total, we completed those site visits and we got a lot of information that is now going to allow us to go and apply for this grant funding. We did submit the pre-application with the county, and this puts us in a really, really good spot. The previous grants we were a part of, we were kind of going in blind. We did not know the housing stock age. We're really going in telling the state, we have these 50 homes, we can go right in and do these projects. The homeowners are engaged, and we've actually have already done the roof rehab and electrical upgrades where we could as well. So that really puts us in a strong position where we're able to really kind of hit the ground running and make for a very competitive application for this portion of the grant. We did have a wait list. We did have limited funding to do the re-roof and the electrical upgrades. We also learned a lot about working with the IID utility. We're continuing to learn. One of the biggest things we learned is that many of the homes have obviously extremely high usage of electricity to the point where, we are running out of roof space to put panels on. So that meant we had to re-roof a larger part of the home, which increased the cost. The electrical panels as well, something we have learned is that in IID, some of the infrastructure, I guess you can say, I'm going to read straight off the slide for this, has 3-wire service drops that must be upgraded and reviewed through IID's engineering process. And it pretty much comes up to a new service. So we would have to cover a brand new service line drop essentially to be able to provide the service to install solar. Another thing we learned is also manufactured homes. IID no longer allows the main service panel to be attached to the manufactured home. They actually want that to be separate if there's any type of upgrade being done in its own separate, pole type thing. I'm not really good at a lot of those language, but I can get around. And again, that was another pole or pedestal that would be required. And if it was overhead, same thing. So we're learning a lot of things that would be required and that we're going to use when we actually submit an implementation grant to show the actual costs and timelines that it would take for these projects to be completed. So a lot of really important information that we needed to know from this community and the housing stock in the homes, and also to hear from residents, right? What are the biggest challenges? One of them that we heard is just the super high bills in the summer, to the point where it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars per month, payment plans having to be made with the utility. So after the presentations, we do have a bit of a resource fair where we have a bunch of resources from IID, SoCalGas to help at least alleviate some of that right now while we're still trying to apply for these grants and these programs. Okay, next slide. So this is a little bit more about the deliverables. As of, I think this is June, I think it might have been since the beginning, 1st of July, if I'm not mistaken. So as you can see here, it's the breakdown of what was required for those 51 homes we went out and site visited. We did everything from taking measurements, shading wasn't a big issue in this community, but we've worked in other communities where, the homes and neighborhoods were covered in shade, so it wasn't feasible. So 10 homes needed just re-roof. 18 homes needed both re-roof and electrical upgrades. 3 homes needed just electrical upgrades. And actually 10 homes were just ready to go. We would be able to install the solar right away without any rehabilitation to move forward. Next slide. This is a little bit more data on where the applicants were. This was asked early on in the meetings. A lot of the IID bills for most residents just say Mecca, even though they live in North Shore. So we mapped it out so we can see a little bit more of the breakdown. I believe it ended up being about 80% of the folks from North Shore were applied, and 20% were from the Mecca community. Next. There was some talk about the microgrid feasibility study. Another thing Grid did is we're conducting a feasibility study for the North Shore Resilience Center. Our team has met with desert recreation districts, their architects, and we have hired and a consultant attended meetings to determine a building resilience design, programming, and emergency response services like that, those that were talked about previously. And I want to just pause and say that a microgrid is, it can be a battery pack structure that can produce energy, store it, and also provide energy for, EV trucks or whatever the case may be. So that's in the gist what a microgrid is. And, there is quite a bit of information that's needed, space, the design had to be completed first, then the feasibility study can take place. So it is quite a bit of ways, takes a lot of technical work, but the report's going to summarize 4 system configurations and 3 load scenarios to deliver a 60% design for the preferred layout that's selected. And that final report is expected to be available by the 1st of September. What I wanted to just present is that both Grid and the consultants are available to present to stakeholders and the community via one-pager and or, on the website or social media when that information is available. Next slide. Another component of our grant was to provide job training through this program and this funding that we had for these past 18 months or so. So we, a part of our grant, we hired 3 internships that were local to the community, and we paid them to help us with community outreach and engagement, contacting homeowners, going to events, canvassing, tabling at events, coming to these meetings. We actually have one of our interns with us today, Dalia. She is from the Coachella community, but her previous interns were from Mecca, and I believe one more thermal resident as well. So those 13 internship opportunities provided 700 hours in training, and future opportunities with Grid. Although we don't have the internship, Grid does have a Solar Core Fellowship program through AmeriCorps. That's actually how I got started at Grid, straight out of college, and folks are invited to apply for that. Our current fellow, David here, he serves in the Coachella Prospera grant as well, helping us spread the word about our programs. Next slide. There's a QR code on the presentation. We'll be happy to share that information, that link as well, for the recruitment that we're actually doing right now. Next slide. Yeah, any questions? I'll leave more time for questions.
I guess just like, when are the families gonna be hearing back from you? What the next steps were?
So all the applicants have already heard from Erika. Erika here is here actually. She's been helping with all the applicants. I believe the last update we got is all the re-roofing was going to be completed by the end of this month. Some of the panel upgrades, as we saw, the timelines are a bit longer. So we are expecting to go a few months out into those, but everybody should have already been contacted by Erika. If they haven't, we can help you here today and or respond to her talk, to her call or her text.
Una pregunta. ¿Los solares nomás son para las casas o también para las homes?
Son los solares con esta beca es requerido que sea una casa fija, no pueden ser fundadas si no es una casa fija o en fundación permanente que está recorded con el condado de Riverside.
Okay.
Thank you.
The question was if the solar panels then also be used for mobile homes and they can only be used for homes, or mobile homes that have a solar foundation.
Yeah, we did receive applications for mobile homes where the property owner had land, and we explored the possibility of ground mounts. The only thing with that is it would increase the cost of the installation. There's trenching, electrical. So that would need to be incorporated if, when we go apply for the grant funding, because that is an additional cost, that, you know, we need to plan for.
That's a final question. When are they gonna do applications again?
So if we get funded, we'd be able to open applications again, depending on the funding amount. So we should know if we're applying by September 30th, we should know. Usually the awardees are announced early the next year, so like next spring, we should know. But for now, the services we provided were funded through this planning development.
And how would I get that information for next year?
I think that's a question we can, work towards on updates for.
Like, would
If
you
we
want to
get-
be part of the wait list? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I believe that you have a wait list open.
Yeah, you
Right
can
now.
contact, our number is there. Erika's here, you can grab her card as well. Grid is not going anywhere. We're still gonna be here. We're still be doing work. We actually have an active grant in Coachella right now. You can find us at the Coachella Library every Thursday. We have staff there because we are actually doing a grant for 80 homes in Coachella area as well right now.
And if we do get funded with the TC implementation grant, we would reopen and create a new committee, a new space, essentially like this. So those updates, those waiting list applications, they would be shared here as well. And leadership council would be our partner in that again, so they would lead the community engagement, to get the word out along with it.
So any other questions? Sorry for the lack of time. We just contact them directly. We have to move on. I know we have a lot of things to cover yet, so my apologies in advance. We'll move on to the next item, community outreach and engagement. So I'm gonna pass it to Crystal. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. All right, everybody. Hello again. My name is Crystal. I'm with Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability, and we've been doing the community outreach and engagement work for this committee. I just wanted to give a quick recap. So, part of this, this committee, of course, is a public forum. It's made up of the 5 agency representatives, so the organizations that are helping leading these projects, but it's also, we have 6 community committee members who were nominated by the community. And so Leadership Council at the start of this, at the start of this grant, put out information, helped the community apply to be part of the committee. I believe we had over 25 applicants, a good number. And so we went through the process of, okay, we had it open for applications. We did the voting process, and that's where we've got our 6 committee members. And so, yes, you can expect, if we were to get the grant again, to go through that process all over again. And I just want to say thank you to the committee members for, the time that you have committed to here. Oh, thank you. Okay. So just again, as if, if you're here in this space for the first time, we have been having monthly meetings since May 2025. Up until our last meeting, this month is July 2026. We've been alternating meetings. So 1 month in Mecca, the other in North Shore, and so on and so forth. We also, for those who aren't able to make it in person, have had it available through Zoom, and as you see today, have had Spanish, simultaneous Spanish translation. Just a brief recap of the outreach efforts that we've done throughout this grant. So you would have gotten, if you're on our listserv, a phone call. We also did a lot of door-to-door canvassing at the beginning. You also get a text message or an email. We leave flyers at frequently visited locations. We also post flyers on social media. We've done various tabling events, and we've also gone to the food distributions, both at the Galilee Center and in North Shore, to be able to share out this information throughout this time. And then I think outreach has evolved throughout this grant as well. So one of the feedback that we had received was if we could post brief recap updates on social media. So we had our comms team, who have been awesome, who've been putting together these monthly reels in partnership with the committee members. And so I think we started back in April, I want to say, where, yeah, we have these monthly recap reels that are bilingual, and we post them on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Oh, I'm sorry, but must have been like January, February, not April. Okay, and then most recently in these last 2 months, I'm gonna just keep moving this around. In the last 2 months, we have done mailers just to make sure that before this committee ends, everybody has gotten word of it. So you would have received a mailer in your mailbox, as well as we've done some social media boosting. Okay. Additionally, starting in March of this year, we've had a TCC prioritization survey open. And so essentially that was a survey that we've had open to better understand what the priority projects are for community. So that even if you haven't been able to come into this space, we're able to share, yeah, which of these projects would I elevate to the top in the event of limited funding. Okay. From there, we've been able to see the top 3 priorities are the bridge widening and improvements. That's actually bubbled up as the top priority for folks who have responded to the survey. And then we've gotten the Community Resilience Center, as well as the solar panels and bike lanes, which actually are tied, I would say. Okay. Because this is our last meeting, I did want to share as far as like planning for the future. So you should expect to still stay informed. So, you know, just because we're not going to have these monthly meetings doesn't mean that we're not going to be providing updates as they are available. So we'll be posting on social media. We also have the project website through the HWS, the Riverside County. We've also discussed potentially giving updates at the Mecca North Shore Community Council meetings, as well as Leadership Council hosting separate meetings, again, as updates allow. But I did want to sort of pause and ask you all as community members sort of what your preferred methods are as far as if there's interest in seeing these community meetings and if there's like a frequency even. As far we wouldn't be having monthly meetings, but maybe it's, you know, in every that's I'm open to hearing it. Keeping in mind, however, right, that like updates will they'll sort of be a lull, right? Not a lot of updates as we're waiting for the application, but certainly can be providing project updates as we have them.
And that will be for all projects that were discussed before?
I think it depends on like what updates are available, yeah.
For the
So
projects to see if they're gonna be approved.
and funded, so we won't hear back from the TCC grant until spring of 2027. So we're looking at like April probably.
So basically, back to. Maybe the Easter bunny will bring us a little basket. So,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll let y'all think about that and then I'll keep going. Some other questions that I'd love to hear your feedback on is we are applying for the next TCC grant. That one would potentially that like phase. This one was about 2 years that we had this committee. The next one would be 4 years. And so something that the application is asking us is for how we envision this next committee to work. Is there a preference from community members on whether we have meetings on a monthly basis or quarterly meetings perhaps? And then the other thing to consider is for the committee members. Right now, you all did a term of about 2 years. How did you feel about that time? And what would it be like, you know, would you consider a 4-year term, not you necessarily, but like the next committee members, right? And if there's a preference there. Also for community, what does that preference look like? If you want to have the same 6 people representing you that whole 4 years, or do you want the 2 years? So I'll just pause there actually and would love to hear
Yeah,
from
let's
you all.
determine that
Yeah.
based on performance. It could be 1 month. Let's see what the results you put out. Then we decide on that.
Well, for the application process, like that's one of the things that like we'd want to think about.
One question.
Yeah.
If you don't have the meetings, that would stop you guys from having your normal meetings,
The leadership council.
Leadership council would still be meeting, doing their thing. Am I correct, or is this all you exist for?
No. We would have our separate
Oh, okay.
meetings
Yeah.
and
No,
we can
I just want
certainly,
to get an insight.
yeah.
But the grant does require meeting, so that's part of the grant application.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we would like to hear, I mean, I would love to hear from the current committee members. Do you think we would be down for 4 years, 2 years? Like, what kind of term do you think is better or more realistic? Given that we would be sitting on a committee for, if we start in the pre-development phase, that could be up to 5 years. That you were served. So
I think for 4 years, it would allow for more consistency and for like committee members to have like, to acquire like the vernacular that's often used in these like meetings. Which would strengthen our expertise. On the other hand, we don't know what life has in hand for us. We're in store for us, sorry. So maybe like, the 4 years, whoever may sit on the 4 year committee, there might be like some positions that may become like compromised, due to like life events, However, now speaking on the 2 year, I do feel that like fresher perspectives sometimes are useful. Sometimes like, other community members who are voted in may have like, again, like relying just on the more, going back on the expertise, or perspective, it may provide like more insight that the current committee may not have, which is not to talk down on the committee, but it's just, again, like, where do our strengths lie, and again, like on the whole, like the topic about like new blood, sometimes it's just useful. So I see pros and cons to both. And yeah, I think that it doesn't really kind of like decide like, oh yeah, let's do the 2 year, but it's just things to consider as well.
what about, we could also do 2 years. We could do 2 years, but allow current committee members to reapply and seek to be part for the remainder. That would be a good compromise. Like, if you want to continue, go ahead, and then the community's still going to vote. It's still going to be essentially an election.
Yeah.
So that could be the best of both worlds. We can get some new blood and maybe get some veterans in there.
That's actually really good.
How would you stagger that? We got 8, let's just say, and every couple of years or every 4 years. Or put through, candidates up for.
So in the 2 years, we would pretty much reopen the application to the community, including the committee members, and just redo the process.
Oh.
So it would allow community.
Over for that.
Never.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it'll end when the grant term ends.
Yeah.
But
That's great.
Over 4 years or over 4 people?
Never over 4 years.
Oh.
it'll be just during the grant term.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So max like 5 years?
Max, it could be up to 5 years.
I would argue though, if there is like a pivotal committee member that's deeply invested, has like enough time to dedicate to this committee.
Yeah.
Their knowledge may be very useful, but I understand where you're coming from.
Like a
Don't worry.
supervisor.
Honestly, yeah, cause I mean, it could like potentially, like, I mean, I'm not, this is just me looking in the future, it could, like potentially open like a pathway for like that, and maybe that person can be in point of contact.
Type of position too.
What I'm saying is that it could open that, that, and they're still attached to the committee,
Yeah.
I think to your point, just to like round it out, you're saying that having somebody here for 4 years would be beneficial. I think in the scenario that Anjanette's talking about, ideally, community members are also seeing who of the committee members are engaged and
Yes.
And that's something that we can put, like, we created a bio, put in the bio, and then they can talk about, what they have contributed, any ideas that they saw that picked up, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think I'm echoing that as well,
And we do know that things happen in life, so we do have a provision, should anybody not be able to complete their current term, is we need to realize there will be, that language will be built into the process of leadership council and ourselves with you. So, we won't, if things happen, we understand. So even within what the 2-year term, yes, we understand that happened.
I appreciate your use of the word elections. It kind of, to me, it seems to bring a revival spirit that the community would probably really become more involved as a result.
Well, it is a vote, so.
Yeah, I really like that idea. It's very refreshing to hear it again. I thought it was dead.
Have a democracy here.
Election.
The valley, yeah.
Instead of appointments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any last question, are there any thoughts on the frequency of these meetings for 4 years?
So typically we do like, a lot of the other meetings are quarterly. So just a thought, I think that's what the meetings are.
Quarterly sounds really good if we're gonna actually get some answers.
Quarterly?
Yeah. We're not just gonna have the same thing presented over,
Yeah, I guess months
Yeah.
for progress.
Yes, that's a good amount of time to.
And you could always call it earlier, right?
Yeah,
If you
so-
needed to.
Yeah, so even in once, it'll be built in, like, should we as a committee, once it starts, we're like, maybe quarterly's too much, maybe just twice a year, or like in the beginning, we'll have that built in to be able to modify frequency, whether it is to increase or decrease.
But between the two places, Mecca and North Shore.
I think we would then maybe we could still do that, but that's something we would also decide during the initial committee meetings that would then be established under the new grant. That's what we did there. But we can do both, we can just have one as standard to avoid confusion, especially if it's quarterly, that's something we can discuss at that time.
Entonces, esta es la última junta que tenemos.
Para este fase.
Sí, para que ya se acabó de fondos y todo, bastante.
No, I think a handful do. Like, I mean, from my experience, there's been a decent amount of people who do show up. Mind you, I've been to maybe 2 of the ones in Mecca. But I will just say, it is helpful because there's also a senior center, and it does seem to, I would say the participants, are very engaged. Yeah. I do wanna ask, from people that are here, who came here because of flyers, that's something new that came up too?
I knew about the
there's-
meeting already, but it was a good reminder because I didn't get the flyer and I was like, oh, that's right. Because for me,
So.
because I couldn't remember the exact date. I was like.
Tell Kaylin, add it to the budget.
I took a screenshot.
Quarterly, add it to the budget.
Very useful.
Yeah, so engagement has been shifting.
I'm right with you.
I brought it to
That's helpful, thank you.
That's 55 for you.
Yeah.
Flyers always work.
So then the plan was plus 2 years or plus 4 years?
For are you saying the phase? The
Commitment you were talking about,
2 years.
2 years.
You can go reward your lifetime.
that would be 6 or that would be?
No, it's 4 years
The
total.
grant total is, I believe, 5 years. It's a year of redevelopment, which we probably don't need much of. And then physical, constructing and all that, it's supposed to be up to 4 years.
I know. Okay, because this is our last meeting, but we've mentioned there's multiple ways that we're gonna try to keep the community informed. We'll have other meetings. If you have not signed up for notification, that is the best way to get direct invites from Leadership Council. And I highly encourage, I'll move this, highly encourage you all to fill out the interest form.
And also the sign in sheet, if you didn't sign in at the beginning, please also do, and that's another way we can show up. Saying.
Yes, okay. I'm gonna
But
stay
you could
here for
always
a couple
follow
of
the page
seconds.
too, right?
Huh?
Follow the page on Instagram page.
True, yes, you can follow us on Instagram, but if you're here and I would take a photo. And then just, I think this is the last slide, as a reminder, Riverside County does have a project website that I encourage you all to visit. It has past agendas, meeting minutes, recordings, and more on there, and that's what we'll be posting updates as well. So highly encourage you all to visit. Okay, that's all for me.
Thank you, Krista. We'll move on to the next item, grant management. So I'm gonna pass it to Aunt Jeanette for the update.
Thank you. So the first key item that occurred during the last month was that we got our first amendment for the grant executed on July 10th. The key changes was that it extended the grant term through December 31st, 2026. This will allow TLMA and GRID to complete remaining work and utilize more of the funds currently in hand by October 2026, and that'll allow us some time to close out the grant. This additional time is needed to allow TLMA to use up more of those funds, so we don't have to return more funds to the state, and that will result into, I believe, for those at 65% of the design document. As Jocelyn mentioned, GRID has experienced or will experience pre-development work delays due to IIP's timeline. So that will also allow for them to properly complete everything they need on their end. If you did not grab the one pager, there is a one pager over there with all this information, and it also shows the revised budget for each task. The total grant amount remained the same, just money was shifted around between either the major project task or within subtasks in each task, if that makes sense. And then the second item is just the TCC round 6 application. We have started that. We are seeking to request funds to install at least 50 solar systems, and then, you know, whatever GRID adds to their scope, which seems they'll be opening up for future additional solar installations in your proposal.
I think depending on the final number we get, for ready units. And then if the possibility is there to open up applications again, that goes.
So at least 50 solar systems and the construction of the Resilience Center. We have already began initial drafts of the work plans, budgets, leverage fundings, and the narratives. There's a big portion of the application. It's, you know, writing and narrating how this funding is important and will be used within the community. Initial drafts for that are due to me by July 31st. We then have also a meeting with our technical assistance provider on July 23rd. We have advised partners to come prepared with any questions or any concerns they have with the application, because that's a good resource for each of us to use to get any feedback. And then on our end, on the county's end, our task items for the grant. As mentioned earlier, we'll be taking a board resolution to the county to apply for the TCC funds, and should award be extended to accept those funds. We anticipate taking that to the board on August 25th. So if there's any comments or anything, please feel free to submit public comments via email, phone, or in person if you would like to drive to Riverside. We've also collected our financial capacity documents, management capacity. We've initiated a draft of the collaborative governance, which is essentially kind of the space, and it'll mimic what we have done during this grant. We received approval for our project area, which encompasses Mecca all the way through North Shore. We needed to receive approval since under this grant, there was a minimum of 15 square miles, and we exceeded that. We're in total, the project area is around 27.3, 27.5, so we received approval for that. And we began drafting our own grantee workbook, as well as narratives, and identified the sections where partners need to provide input. So we're moving items along to meet the September 30th deadline and get this out. Any questions? I got it.
Any questions?
Cost us for that application, also for the grid, the application ourselves, what is it cost?
There's no cost. Grid doesn't charge for any of our services. Yeah. You have to be a resident, own the home, and when the application's open, we can provide those updates again. Right now, they are closed.
Por mantenimiento, ¿ves lo cubren todo eso o no tiene que pagar mantenimiento al panel solar?
The maintenance is included. Grids Leverage Fund is the incentive tax credit, so we actually own and maintain the system for a 10-year contract term.
Well, due to time, I wanna go to right there, so thank you, and Jeanette, we are overpass. Do we have to, do we still need to come back to TCC round 6? Is that all?
No, I think
this
that-
year? And Jeanette?
Yeah, I think I covered it.
We're gonna do any update on the great resources, any additional?
Yes, we do have our team. We have just a few minutes of slides, but I know they want to start with the raffle item.
Yeah, we can go through it a bit faster. We have printouts for them on the table,
Okay.
so they can follow.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think maybe the. One of the last Yeah.
Start over the raffle. Okay, so we'll start off, we have a portable. Adriana?
Adriana?
Yo.
Solar charger.
Oh, nice.
Angela Montoya? We have some humidifiers.
Oh, that worked out so good.
Okay, Sergio? Okay.
I don't know about 5 minutos, 5 minutes. And David and Dania, they'll also have bags with all of the resources in there for you to take home. So if you don't catch, programs, you'll have to as well.
La presentación en español.
I think so. Do you want to go?
Me das una,
¿Quién más?
Whatever you want. Yeah. I'm different.
Yes.
Can you
The slides are just.
She needed one
You
too.
just tell me whatever I have to do. I'll leave it up to David.
Ya me entiendo, gracias.
It's okay. Okay, can you start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We're Great Alternatives. I'm David Zedekat Perez. I'm the Solar Core Outreach Fellow.
I'm Dania Perez. I'm the Outreach Community Engagement and Data Intern.
We're gonna go through this workshop a little fast because we're running out of time, but this is basically resources that are aside from grid that all of you can benefit from.
You just tell me when to go. Okay.
Okay, wait, go back to the previous one. So here's some tips. This is relating to energy vampires. Energy vampires is basically anytime an appliance is actively using energy when it's not being used. So right here, we have a couple examples, televisions, microwaves, digital clocks. And then to save more energy, you can just unplug them or use power strips and turn them off when you're not using the devices. So next.
So just some energy saving tips for the summer. You routinely clean or replace your AC filter, set your thermostat to 78 or higher, install smart thermostats, use your ceiling fans, but make sure to turn those off when you're not in the room. Stop using major appliances during the peak hours of 4 to 8. And
Some other tips is just that if you're purchasing new appliances, make sure they're Energy Star appliances. Use shades, blinds, curtains to keep your house cooler, or reflective films to keep the heat from going in. And take care of your household leaks, replace your most used bulbs with Energy Star products.
Okay, so next up, we have several programs from IID. This is essentially different utility assistance. Their main one is the Ready program. This is a 20% discount on for all the customers that are under this utility. We have some applications in the bags and on the table. You do have to fill out the paper application, and currently they told me for this month, you can only turn it in on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning. But most people would apply. It's an income-based program, and if you're under IID, you can mostly fall under it. This next one is essentially for emergencies. If someone is disconnected for, let's say, because they're not able to pay their bills, IID actually offers $125 per quarter to help you. This is also income-based, and it has slightly more rigid eligibility. The next one is the Shield program. This is for seniors who are age 60 or older, who have medical expenses that incur 10% of their total income. Next slide, please. Okay, we also have a weatherization savings program in the back. This will be ending in 2026. This basically helps people buy, I believe, equipment up to $1,500,000 in services and equipment. You can reapply every 3 years. And then we have the EASE program. This is specifically for people who have medical devices that use up electricity in their home. IID offers basically a discount of a certain amount of usage to help ease the burden of using those medical devices. Next one.
What are those devices you're talking about?
We have a list right here in the back, so you can check them out, and it's, I believe, like oxygen tanks and a couple other things that you can use. So the budget billing plan is basically an alternative to getting your bills. The math is a bit right there. They'll take the total amount of usage you have throughout a year and then average it out, and that's what you'll pay for an entire year based off your previous usage, rather than paying it by your usage of every month. So next. And they currently have an EV charger rebate, which is going to last until December 31st of 2026. If you purchase and install a qualifying product, so level 2, 240 volt EV charger, they'll actually give you up to $500 to ease the cost of it. And the next slide.
So there's also a residential rebate. So IID Energy Rewards Program offers rebates for energy efficient measures for home purchases, and they must be purchased and installed in 2026 and applied for by December 31st, 2026. And then they have their website, and then you can see under rebates for my home on their page. There's also some like refrigerator programs. So the first one is the refrigerator recycling program, which they give you $50 to recycle your old working refrigerator, and they pick it up at no cost. The second one would be the efficient appliance savings year round, or EASY. Free upgrades for eligible customers. So if you're enrolled in the Ready, EASE, or Shield, you can exchange your old refrigerator for a brand new one. But again, it must be working, and it has to be older than like 5 years. So lastly, we have the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Programs, or LIHEAP, and LIHEAP is a federally funded program that can offer a one-time payment to low-income people to basically help assist their, like paying their bills or in an energy crisis, such as a utility disconnection. And they also offer weatherization services. IED customers can qualify for up to $1,000 under LIHEAP, and eligibility depends on your household income size and place of residence. So based on the 50 site visits that we completed, we were able to design 44 system designs, and we found that the average percentage savings annually would be around 53. Oh, sorry. This is some additional data. So due to the limited like space and the roof conditions, we were also able to do ground mount systems. So on this chart, we saw that it would be around 25% ground mount and 75 rooftop solar. This one, so basically, due to, IED's conditions that the usage can be over 100% of the household, or it can be a system over 10 kilowatts. We found that the average would be around 6.7 kilowatts per household and 17.
Okay, so this is a list of polling centers. We also have a one-page printout on the table. We obviously, as a local, it gets very hot here. It's been over 100 degrees. So if you need a place to cool off, here's a couple places where you can do it. This is one of them. And then we have a couple other places like the Coachella Senior Center, the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, Mecca Community Center, and all these are nearby. And here's also the dates and times in which they're available. So next slide. Some other resources, this is coming from the Sunline Transit. So they have several that we were able to find, right? Sunline Transit is the transit operator of public transportation throughout the valley. There's the SunBus, which is the bus network. The ones that are best for this community would be routes 8 and 9. It comes down here and then travels pretty much up until Palm Desert. We have their app, Sunride, powered by Sunline. This is an app that lets you plan, book, and track a vehicle to take you around the valley. They have their taxi voucher program. It's a 50% price off on taxi services within the valley for those who are 60 and up and those who are disabled. They have the 10-link commuter link service. This is essentially a rider's program through the bus that goes from Indio all the way to San Bernardino. And then College of the Desert also has their Hall Pass program. Any student who's actively enrolled in the college can, using their student ID card, can receive unlimited, reliable, free transportation through Sunline. So next. And then at the end of the presentations, we have a QR code you can scan. This will take you to a Google document with all the links of these resources and some more. Note some of the resources like with IID require physical applications to use. Others, you have to go on IID's website and do an online application or call them directly. But you should find everything you need here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We ran out of time, so we got 1 minute. Okay.
Yeah.
So the last item that we have, thank you so much, appreciate it. Well done. The TCC committee closeout, so I'll pass it back to Crystal.
That was literally just a closeout of the committee. Thank you all for coming, for sticking with us for the last year and a half. Thank you, thank you.
So with that, I just want to say thank you. I know like I represent the community and I think I appreciate the opportunity to represent not only my own interests, but the interests of the community. So, thank you.
Very appreciated.
I wanted to